I gotta say, is he based on you a little bit? Because there are some stills there that.
Oh, definitely I've drawn.
Like
That's, yeah, it's a mixture of laziness and vanity, I think. I don't know which 50% of one of it. He's definitely in some places is...
especially at the beginning when you're screaming, you can definitely see the expression in his
and
eyes.
to be honest,
and
any of the hard to draw expressions...
just go to me.
That's the truth. Yeah. But I mean, it's no secret. Like, if people have been taking the piss out of me, like all the lads decking do their Irish arts all know well. So some of my good close friends, when they read it, they're just like it takes them out of it a little. They just can't take it seriously because it's like, this is Mooney, this is just you like punching Hitler or whatever. This is ridiculous.
And then this guy, I don't want to say it, but
John Noble.
He looks John Noble looks kind of like Alexander Skarsgård at points.
Yeah, he does indeed. Yeah, he's. Did you ever see Generation Kill, a HBO miniseries? It was set the Iraq War. It was kind of like a little Band of Brothers-y kind of a thing, but it was obviously much more contemporary. But he plays this really straight-laced, like Cyclops kind of character, and I like that. As boring as those archetypes are to a lot of people, I really love those. So that character per se is kind of a lot of what John Noble is based on. So there's definitely, if there is a visual inspiration, and of course then you have the whole stupid. It's like, I wonder if I was casting this as a film, who this would be. Or, there's obviously an element of that. So
and do you have that though? Do you have that mentality? Like,
no, not really. He's the only one. Like, she's not based on anybody. Ishikawa's like, he's just a pair of eyes behind a mask most of the time.
Yeah, except for obviously the first issue where you see him fight.
Yeah, and then like you say, this guy is generally visually just based off me, kind of. So no, I don't really like. I get a lot of questions about the whole movie thing. Yeah, like, and who's your dream cast? And I'm like,
don't care.
No idea. Well, it's not that I don't care. I just haven't. It's a comic to me, you know. I mean, if someone comes along and does it, like they offer to do a really good, like I love movies, like, so I certainly wouldn't be closing the door on that. But it's not. No. It's certainly not something like, I didn't go in like, let's storyboard this and see if I can pitch this film, because I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have the first clue how to do that. So no, I have no dream cast or director or any of that kind of material. No.
And what would you say, like, what was your inspiration for all this? It's clearly a bit of Indiana Jones.
Yeah, well,
Jurassic
I mean,
Park
Indiana Jones, obviously a big one, Jurassic Park. It's mostly that kind of, there's a big Spielberg overarching element, but the subject matter is more inspired by things from the 1930s, that kind of pulp Saturday afternoon serials like Flash Gordon and things, just real, like, to be continued, like nearly overbearing and tongue-in-cheek, but then, which is one of the major problems I have with this, is like, how far do you go with that and then pull it back so it's still not, you don't want it to be a like, I didn't want it to read as a parody or as a piss take. I wanted it to actually be, the daring do action adventure tale. So that was kind of one of the hardest tightropes.
We don't see a lot of those these days.
No, you don't, and that's what worried me, because I was like, well, you don't see a lot of that. Do people not buy those? Do people not want to see those? So again, that was another question that worried me, but I was going to do it regardless, because it was the only thing I really had fully formed in my mind. I mean, it's weird to me, people have been asking me to pitch as a writer on other books now for other companies and things since this. But when I did this, it was more of a case of I just wrote it so I could draw it. It was like a means to an end for me almost. Although I spent a lot of time thinking about it and writing and such. So, to my mind, when I write it, it'll be more of this. Yeah. Which isn't to say I wouldn't. Some of the stuff, like, it's a lot of pulpy stuff that I've been feelers have put out, and I'm like, that would actually be really cool to do a story arc on that. So, who knows? I mean, I haven't really lined up the next big thing as yet. Just some cool offers.
And Half Past Danger, how long has that been in your head?
Since, well, the idea for the action adventure pulpy Indiana Jones type comic was always something I wanted to do since I started reading comics. So I'd say since Tintin, when I was a kid, that would be the seed of this. Yeah. But when did I actually start? Like, when did I sit down and go, I need a name for this comic? I need a thing.
That there where you said
Tintin,
that's
where it began.
That's really, you can say it right there.
Tintin and Indiana Jones are the real precursors. Watching those movies and reading those comics, and I guess I was like 8 or 9 from the local library out in Raheny, from the north side of Dublin where I'm from. So that was the real genesis. But then it was all percolating for years and years. And then obviously I was a big X-Men fan when I was a kid, and I discovered American comics, and like that's all I saw then for a while. And I was like, I want to draw Wolverine, I want to draw Cyclops and Iceman and all that stuff.
And you got to draw Angel.
Yeah, Angel. I was
very good.
Well, I was actually a massive fan of the Angel. I lobbied for that. I've done loads of TV tie-in stuff for IDW.
Teen Wolf, that
was for Image actually. But a lot of that stuff. But Angel was the one that I am a massive fan of this. I'm Chris Royal, the editor at IDW. Like I literally asked him all the time, can I work an Angel? Can I work an Angel? And he was like, listen, we have an artist lined up.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon picked this guy, and Brian, the writer. It's like, so I'm sorry, but that's just the way. But then it got so big so fast. They needed people to come in and do arcs on the book and stuff like so. It's like.
So did you ever get to meet Whedon?
No, the closest I ever got was I saw an email he sent Brian, kind of a thing like that. I've heard of a couple of my covers that he really liked and stuff, which was like, oh, okay. So I know he probably doesn't have a name for the artist, but I know he knows I exist, so that's about as close as I'll ever get, I think.
And I have to say, your art style is very photorealistic, and that's why I was able to notice that you yourself.
Yeah, more so, I think.
Alexander Skarsgård. When you look at the David Boreanaz's images, he looks like.
Well, I think that's kind of what got me the job. To be honest, that became a bit of a bugbear for me. It was a bit of a cross. Like I can do a decent, like I used to do it like as presents from my relatives and friends. It was like just like a portrait or whatever. Yeah. It's fine. Make a few quid on the side, and then when I started on IDW, they're like, oh, this guy can draw the people like they look, which is fine. So I kept getting more and more of that work. But to be honest with you, while I agree I can do it quite well, it slows everything down a bit for me. Like when you put in a picture of David Boreanaz, that's a really well rendered, nice drawing of, and it looks like that is not all that conducive to comic book stories, because you'll stop and go, that's a nice drawing, but that'll take that tiny bit of you out of the story, like so. With an actor, that doesn't happen because the TV show is the beast, and you're like, I'm immersed. This is it. But with the comic book, to me, that takes you out a little bit, and it slows the thing down, and it made my work look a bit too stiff for me. And there was lots of reasons I didn't really like it. I mean, I loved I loved 3 years I did an Angel, like, and like some of the. Yeah. I mean, it was just great and going to conventions and meeting all the fans. Spike, I did. Yeah, I did Wesley. I did a lot of things, and again, I really enjoyed it. But I'm much happier doing this kind of stuff, where I can do it at the odd time. If there's an expression I really want to say or whatever, I can use a picture and reference that and do a nice drawing. But then I can go a little bit simpler for an action sequence, and if it's Ishi fighting some Nazis on a train or something, things can go a lot quicker and like bang, bang, bang. And it doesn't have to look like a real guy, and she doesn't have to look like a real lady. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's movements. Like
it's
blurred.
Exactly. But I mean, I love a nicely drawn picture of somebody. Like, I mean, obviously I'm a fan of that stuff.
I mean,
so
you can just look back and just go, this is great.
Yeah, but I did want to get away from that a little bit, and I'm glad I did. But I mean, if Angel, I mean, it's not something I'd love to do more Whedon type stuff down the line. I'd love to do more. Like, there's so many, Star Wars and like Indiana Jones. I was talking to, there was a little bit of talk about an Indiana Jones comic one stage. Stuff like that, like, would be amazing.
Yeah, with no Shia LaBeouf in it, or.
No,
maybe
I mean, I'm not such man. I thought Mutt was okay. I'm not one of these.
Was okay?
Yeah, he wasn't. There was a lot of things I hated about that film, but he was not one of them.
With the ants and the.
I won't go into it. You'll hear another hour if I start talking about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But no, I thought Mutt was one of the things I didn't mind. Now, obviously, he's a bit of a lost cause at this point, maybe.
Now. Yeah, he's changed a lot now.
Even in Transformers 1, I thought he was fine. A little bit of charisma.
2 and 3 happened, 2 and 3
now
were 4
awful.
Is coming out.
Yeah, well, that's Marky Mark, isn't it? So he's and his funky bunch.
I like Marcus.
Oh, so do I.
Like him.
Yeah, he's not a bad actor.
He's a great actor.
In the right film, he's very good.
Ted.
Yeah, he's great in Ted. Yeah.
So like you've been showcasing this all around Ireland now. Are you tired yet? Have you grown weary of it?
No, because it's genuinely something that's my own, and it reflects, like, if you could distill my own personality and my interest and everything, like, this is kind of what I come up with, and I'm so happy with the package of it and the way
it's so
like
gorgeous.
IDW put it together. And I mean, they let me put pretty, like, even these end papers, like I did those myself, and they formatted it all for me. I gave them. This was all them. Like I saw this and I was like, oh, this is just lovely. They just put little panels here for the credits and everything. They have a really, really good design and production team there, and that was what I knew going in. I was like, if I can get my hands on a nice hardcover by the end of the series, so it'll be of a piece, then I will be happy. So I got everything I could have got out of this series. I mean, the reviews were great, sales were quite good. They want to do a sequel, which is nice, you know. So
did you plan for a sequel?
Oh yeah. I wrote originally. I mean, of course, I was like, I went way beyond my bounds. I was like, well, this is going to be. It's actually a 3. This is 3. This is a 6-issue, 6 large issues story, and then I have it planned out for 18. So there'll be 3, then 3 more, then 3 more. To me, it's my Raiders. Temple of Doom, Last Crusade. That's in my mind. That was always the way it was.
So
and the
Sawler's going to be in the 3rd one.
Oh yeah, the story. Well, no, there are elements of that. It's not too. It doesn't mirror them exactly.
Oh, no,
but I certainly
definitely.
do love that father-son dynamic.
Yeah.
So
And you can see with the dedication you gave to your father.
Well, there's
You
little
say
things
he's
I've
the
written already.
founder.
Like, I mean, say this he used this Tommy gun. It's like his signature weapon. His dad was in the IRA. Like, I had all this stuff that I excised from the first one, and his dad was a gun runner back at the States. Used to supply weapons to the Irish back when the Troubles back out when they were really at their height, and that they actually did supply them with Thompson machine guns and things like that. So like he got this gun from his dad. So it hasn't been in the comic, but there's a whole lot of things to come.
Yeah.
But when I wrote the whole thing, I did all the beats for the as 3 because I didn't want to have that thing where you do this really good debut, which I didn't know if it would be good or not, but it's done well, so I can say now it's decent at least. I didn't want to have a debut that was strong and then struggle to go, okay, now people want more and I've got nothing.
Yeah.
So
the
main arc is done. It's
so
just
it's hard to pull back and try to not.
Oh yeah, man! It's like I cut some. This originally was 7 issues. It's 6 issues now, but IDW, the way they work their trades, it's a maximum of they wanted 6 issues just because they feel like sales from their projections and research, it shows they start to tail off a little bit after 5 or 6 issues. It's just inevitable for any series. So there was lots of little things that came into play, and they're like, listen, we really like the idea, but we need to get down to 6 issues.
Yeah.
And then I chopped down a bunch of stuff, and it actually, the pacing went that little bit quicker. And because I was like, oh my god, I have to lose a whole issues worth, like 30 pages. A lot of my issues are bigger than normal issues, so I was like, it's a lot of stuff to lose. But in the end, it worked out for best, and now all that stuff will come into play a little bit further down the line. So there was no discernible downside that I could really see, So touch wood, it's gone well so far, and
it's going
hopefully
fantastic.
more of the same. I mean, I'd love to see maybe have 3 of these guys at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Maybe a nice slipcase. If
be
IDW were
cool.
listening, it cost more, but I'd love it.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, this is like a year and a half's work. It's nice to see it sitting in front of me in a book, but the amount of time it takes to do. Now I think I could do the second one in a year because all the design is done.
Oh, very nice.
All of the behind the scenes construction and stuff is a large body of it that is done and dusted. So I can whenever I do, I'm writing this full script at the minute while I do covers and commissions and things. And whenever I do eventually jump back into it, I'll just be going straight into the art.
How do you find that? The fact that all of this is yours, like Geordie Belair, she does some of the colouring, but the majority, the lion's share of this is all you.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about all of that? Like, something you were interested in trying?
Because any artists are. I know more artists than writers, but my friends are mostly artists, like the Irish guys. But
the eclectic mix.
Yeah, every artist has like a massive ego. Like, I mean, some people hide it better than others. Yeah. But it's in there. You know what I mean? There's a control aspect that is crying out to, like I want. I mean, I used to work in animation, and I loved being in animation, but you're a tiny part generally of that larger machine, and to my mind, I was like, I'd get comic scripts that were really, really well written. I mean, some of them co-authored by Joss Whedon or whoever, and they look amazing. And I was like, I'd love to try this myself someday because I know how to format a script. I've seen so many good examples of it, and I think I know how to pace it and lay it out and get the beats down and stuff. So it was just something. I guess it was just a challenge. Plus, there's a certain lovely thing to see your name. I mean, I didn't add that. IDW stuff. I was like, I wonder if I could put my name on top of this when I was sending in my mock-up for the cover, and I was like, no, that's too pretentious. But then they sent me back their version, and I had it on there, so I was like, I'm not. The shoe fits. I'm not gonna ask them to
It does look very nice.
No, it's gorgeous. It's great, but it's like it's fulfilling that way. You know what I mean? But at the same time, there's an ugly side to that because nobody wants to have a big ego or anything.
No.
So. Yes, I'm happy that I got to do something that was all my own, but I certainly still want to collaborate. I'm dying to draw like stories that there's so many writers I'd love to work with still. Like, that's not it for me now. I'm not like Stephen Mooney, writer, artist. Yeah. This will be all you'll see. That's not the case. I mean, I've already just finished artwork on a Wolverine book.
Oh, really?
That I had nothing to do with the writing of. Obviously, they just brought me in to draw it.
Can you say what?
I don't know what It's a hardcover thing. It's not.
So it's not part of the.
No, but it is the current continuity.
So he has no.
It's Headmaster
factor.
Wolverine.
Oh.
Well, it goes through an awful lot of stuff. I got to draw an awful lot of cool stuff, but I don't know what way it's been marketed or they haven't.
But it is Headmaster Wolverine, so we're going to see the Jean Grey School and everything.
Oh yes.
Your own versions of, say, Quill and all the students.
There's an awful lot of X-Men in it, but I'm not going to say which. I mean, I got to scratch a hell of a lot of itches in one. It's a 64-page standalone thing.
Cyclops?
I did Cyclops.
Cyclops with
I did classic Cyclops, which is my favorite, kind of a flashbacky thing. But again, I don't know what I'm supposed to. It's not that it's a huge secret. It's not a massive secret project or anything. Like it's just.
But you don't want to step on anyone.
But I don't. Also, I'm only getting in with these guys now, and I don't want to be.
Because it's a big thing now. Marvel are getting a lot of Irish people in. Nick Roach, Declan, and Geordie.
Will Sliney.
Yeah, Will as well.
Well, Geordie's obviously American, but she doesn't like when people call her Irish. But she does sound
you can hear it in her accent.
She's a full-blooded American. Like she's and she gets in a lot of interviews because of myself or Declan or whoever. She's just counted as Irish. But although she's living over here, obviously she's Dec's girlfriend. But yeah, the Irish they are taking on a lot. Marvel particularly. I think it's got a lot to do with the work ethic. I don't know. Well, the talent is a big part of it, but they've realised whatever it is about our guilt-ridden upbringings over here, like when any of the guys are given a job, they'll never miss their deadline.
Yeah,
they'll
that
never
might
play
be a
around.
problem sometimes.
And people don't realise how much a lot of artists in mainstream comics and writers actually don't make their deadlines.
Yeah, like we were doing the panel. I think Dice during the panel. Declan and that were talking about.
Yeah. If you get Declan started on that, he'll.
That was a great panel about how they were just saying the amount of delays and everything that go through, and the artists and that just have to wait for.
Well, working with Geordie is what really opens your eyes because she draws. At least 10 books.
Yeah,
she colours at least 10 books a month.
She's on Moon Knight right now.
Yeah, so she knows all of the trade secrets of guys and girls who are supposed to have their stuff in that might not or whatever. So we hear an awful lot of gossip, backstage gossip, and it blows our. It's like wow, people because we grew up dying to do this job, and then when you hear about people that take that opportunity and I've made it, I'll be fine. I'll go finish Final Fantasy, whatever. So. We're all tempted to spend our time watching films or playing games or whatever it is, but that's once your work is done. So I think Marvel are realizing that guys, especially Will and Dec and Nick, that deadlines are cast in stone with those guys. So it's a nice way to be associated, And IDW did the same. IDW brought in a lot of Irish guys before Marvel even did. Yeah. Years ago, Nick and myself both started in IDW 2006, I think it was. And I got Len O'Grady, a colourist from Limerick, did a big body of his work there. He lives in the States now. And Stephen Thompson was there on Star Trek and other books as well. And I know Dec was talking to him at one point. So they definitely like the Irish there as well. But Chris Ryle there's a little bit of Irish in there as well. It's from O'Reilly and stuff. So he loves all that aspect of it. He's a lovely fella. And he's a great editor. He was my editor on this actually. So.
Oh yeah, I saw it in there.
But comics it'll be comics for the foreseeable. I'm writing the sequel. Half Past Danger 2 is imminent. I'd say that'll come out next year. Sorry, my phone's beeping at me. I'd say that'll come out next year. Yeah. And what I would like to do is work on somebody else's Marvel or DC or whoever's characters for this 2014. I'm getting more cover work and stuff now for the likes of Dynamite and Ireland things, so I'm trying to build up my profile a bit more stateside like that. But and covers are great to do because you can treat those almost as movie posters, it's the same kind of discipline. So yeah, I couldn't be happier right now. Everything seems to be coming up Millhouse, all so far so good. It doesn't feel like an overnight success thing for me or anything. This is my 10th year working in comics, So, and then I still have the likes of Dec, he's one of my best mates, continually, when he's drawing Warren Ellis's book or whatever. So, there's always that, he'll always be there to take me down. Well, I'd like to think it was a competition, but it's not. It's not much of a competition.
His own book?
True, but that's coming. Trust me, that will be.
Really?
Oh yeah, you'll
see that artwork.
Declan has at least 1 or 2 stories waiting to come out. Yeah, very.
And he has Geordie.
He has Geordie, who's a secret weapon because even having Geordie for some of this, I was like,
I saw it. It's just
so the collaboration aspect is great. The one thing about doing everything myself was it was a little bit lonely working on it. But then once Geordie came on board, there was a lot more back and forth. Yeah. And with Dec and Nick, we're all actually very close to the eclectic mix. So all of our work we do fire around to each other on the email before it ever sees the light of day, just because we know we'll rip it apart. Each other, we're very harsh on each other's work because you have to be. We'd like to eliminate any criticisms or possible fallibilities before real people see it. So so that's a great support structure to have, and the lads are all doing so well now. Irish comics in general is really in a good place.
If you look at them now,
most of them are working at Marvel.
They've all gone to success stories.
Yeah. The original 7 of us.